Hello everyone, welcome back to House of Tea's Wellness. I'm happy you're here. If you're new to my channel, my name is Tolu, and here we focus on simple and practical ways to live a healthier lifestyle through nutrition, wellness, and healthy habits. Today I will be walking you guys through what I eat in a week when I am on active recovery, meaning I am doing less cardio, less strength training, just giving myself, my body, and my muscles time to recover. So during that week, I always go with low carb, high protein, less calorie meals. So I am meal prepping for a week, and I have different things I'm going to meal prepping here. I will be meal prepping my scrambled eggs for breakfast. I will be meal prepping my shrimps and vegetables for lunch, and also meal prepping my I call it my turkey and vegetable wrap for dinner. So sit back, relax, and let's get this going. So now that we've gotten through the intro, let's get into this week's meal prep. So this week is a little different for me because I'm calling it my active recovery week. I'm still moving my body. I'm still staying active, but I'm intentionally dialing back a little bit and giving my body some time to recover. And because my activity level is a little different this week, I wanted my meals to reflect that too. So my focus for this 5 days is simple: high protein, lower carbs, lots of vegetables, and being mindful of my overall calorie intake. I'm not trying to make my meals complicated, and I'm definitely not trying to eat food that I don't enjoy just because I have a goal. For me, meal prep works best when I prepare foods that I actually look forward to eating. We're starting with breakfast, and for this week I'm doing scrambled eggs with turkey, sausage crumbled, and vegetables, so mixed peppers basically. For the egg mixture, I'm using 6 whole eggs, 2 cups of egg whites, and 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese. I really like combining whole eggs with egg whites because I still get the flavor and richness of the whole eggs, but the egg white allow me to increase the protein without having to use a large amount of whole eggs. For my seasoning, I'm keeping it flavorful. I'm using cayenne pepper, seasoning pink salt, and chipotle seasoning. One thing about me, healthy food still has to taste good. I don't believe that choosing healthier meals means everything has to be plain, dry, or flavorless. Season your food. Use the flavors you enjoy. That is one of the things that makes a healthier eating pattern easier to maintain. I also added cinnamon powder and, of course, a little more cayenne pepper, because I love my food spicy. I'm adding low-fat cottage cheese to my scrambled egg. I always make sure I get the low-fat one because this adds up really fast if you don't pay attention. If you've never added cottage cheese to your scrambled eggs before, definitely try it. It makes the eggs creamy, and also another way of adding some more protein into your meals. Definitely give it a try. So I greased my pan with 1 tablespoon of Irish butter, and then went in with my frozen mixed peppers. This is another meal prep shortcut I use all the time. Everything does not have to be chopped from scratch, especially if you don't have a lot of time at your disposal. If buying pre-cut or frozen vegetables makes it easier for you to actually prepare your meals at home, use them. Convenience can still be part of healthy eating. I added my crumbled turkey sausage. Again, my goal here is protein. I want breakfast to actually satisfy me and carry me through the morning instead of having breakfast and then feeling like I need another meal an hour later. I think sometimes when people are trying to change their eating habits, we kind of get so focused on eliminating everything that we enjoy. For me, it's more about portions and the overall picture. A little butter in a recipe that is full of protein and vegetables is not something I'm worried about. I'm looking at the whole meal. Once everything comes together, this gives me 5 easy breakfasts that I can grab during the week. And this is exactly why I like meal prepping. I don't want to wake up every morning trying to decide what I'm going to eat. The decision has already been made. I've already done the work. All I have to do is heat it up in a microwave and eat, or in the oven and eat. That takes away so much of the decision fatigue that can happen when you're trying to stay consistent. So while the scrambled egg is setting, I am just seasoning my shrimps, prepping it and for it to marinate for a little bit before I put it on the stove. So I'm using seasonings that I already have in my pantry, nothing special, nothing in particular. I just grab curry powder, Italian seasoning, chipotle seasoning, and taco seasoning, just stuff I already have in the pantry. I would also love to mention that you don't have to eat the exact same amount as somebody else you see online. Meal prep does not mean everybody needs identical portions. Your needs depends on your body, your activity level, your goals, and what else you're eating throughout the day. So use meal prep videos for ideas, but adjust the portions to what works for you. For me, during an active recovery week, I know my energy needs may be a little bit different than during a week when I'm doing hard workouts or running more miles. So I'm simply being more intentional about my portions while still making sure I'm eating enough protein and definitely nourishing my body. So based on the ingredients and portions I calculated, each breakfast comes out to approximately 386 calories with about 36 grams of protein and 16 grams of fiber and 16 grams of fat with 12 net carbs. So I decided to switch my lunch for dinner, basically because it has lower calories compared to my dinner choice. So I will be switching my lunch for dinner. So this is going to actually be my dinner. So I will be making vegetable stir fry and shrimps with sweet potatoes for dinner. This is probably one of my favorite types of meals to prep because it's simple, it's colorful, filling, and you can change the vegetables depending on what you have at home. So it's very
versatile as far as your vegetable choice. Shrimp, on the other hand, is such an easy protein for meal prep because it cooks quickly. You really don't need a lot of time to make a good shrimp dish. And for me, that's important. Meal prep does not have to take my entire day. It doesn't have to take my entire week. And if I can find ways to make the process quicker and easier, I'm going to do that. Once the shrimp is done, I'm going to set it aside. And here comes my vegetables. I'm loading this meal with vegetables because vegetables gives me volume. There's something I pay attention to when I'm trying to be mindful of calories, and that's volume eating without loading up on calories. I still want to look at my plate and feel like I have real meal in front of me. Adding plenty of vegetables gives me that volume without having to make the meal extremely calorie dense. I added bone broth to this recipe just for the nutritional benefits and just to prevent my vegetable from overly looking dry, to give it some moisture and some look juice. I have my sweet potatoes in the oven. I'm going to add baked sweet potatoes to this meal. Based on my ingredients, my total calorie for dinner is 375. Now we're moving on to lunch. For lunch, I'm making ground turkey and veggie wraps. This is another one of those meals that gives me plenty of protein, but still feels like something I actually want to eat. I'm using ground turkey as my main protein source and adding vegetables to bulk up the filling. This is another simple trick that I use a lot. If I'm making ground meat, I don't always want the entire filling to just be meat. Adding vegetables gives me more volume, more texture, and more variety. Then everything goes into the wrap. And depending on your goals, you can choose whatever type of wrap that works for you. You can use a regular tortilla or a lower carb tortilla or whatever options you enjoy and you can realistically maintain. I think sometimes we spend too much time looking for the absolute perfect food, the perfect bread, the perfect wrap, the perfect snack, or the perfect meal. For me, the bigger question is, does this fit into the overall way I'm eating? And if my answer is yes, I'm good with it. I want to clarify something. When I say this is a lower calorie or calorie conscious meal prep, I'm not trying to eat as little food as possible. That is not my goal. My goal is to be intentional about my intake while still giving my body what it needs. There's a big difference between being mindful of calories and simply trying not to eat. I still want protein. I still want vegetables. I still want some healthy fat. I still want carbohydrates. And most importantly, I still want to feel satisfied after I eat. If I prepare meals that leaves me starving all day, eventually I'm going to start looking for something else to eat. So I would rather build balanced meals from the beginning. And one of the biggest things I'm focusing on right now is making sure there's a clear protein source in every of my meals. So like this meal prep now, I have for breakfast, I have eggs, egg whites, cottage cheese, and turkey sausage as my protein source. For lunch, I have ground turkey, and for dinner, I have shrimp. That makes my day much easier because I'm not getting to the end of the evening and realizing, oh, I barely ate any protein today. I'm spreading it out throughout my day. And I personally find that protein focused meals help me feel more satisfied. It also supports my active lifestyle and the work I'm putting in with my workouts. And since this is my active recovery week, I also want to talk about that for a minute. Recovery is part of fitness. It can be tempting to think that if you're not doing a hard workout every day, you're somehow falling behind. But our bodies needs recovery too. For me, an active recovery week doesn't necessarily mean sitting down and doing nothing. I can still work, I can still move, I can still stay active. I'm just intentionally lowering the intensity and giving my body a chance to recover. And I'm trying to treat nutrition the same way. I don't need to drastically change everything just because my workouts are different for a few days. I'm simply adjusting my portions and being mindful of my choices. If you're watching and thinking, I could never meal prep for 5 days, start smaller. Prep 2 days. Prep 3 breakfasts. Cook your protein ahead of time. Figure out the vegetables later. Wash and cut your produce. Do whatever removes one decision from your busy day. Meal prep doesn't have to look like 20 perfectly lined up containers in the refrigerator for it to count. The whole purpose is to make your week easier. Even having one prepared meal can help. Another thing that helps me is keeping the meal simple. Look at what I made this week. Eggs, shrimps, ground turkey, vegetables, sweet potatoes, wrap. Nothing here requires a complicated recipe. I'm combining basic ingredients in a way that fits my goals. So my snack of choice for the next 5 days is yogurt and berries. So I do not like the texture of frozen berries when they melt, so I always blend my berries and make them into blocks. I call them berry blocks. So it has raspberry, strawberry, blueberry, and blackberry in there. So back to my talk. Even though I prep everything ahead of time, I still pay attention to how I feel during the week. If I'm hungrier one day, I'm going to eat more. If I have a harder workout than expected, I might need more carbohydrates. If I'm satisfied, I'm not going to eat more just because it was portioned in the container. I already know right now that those wraps, I'm probably going to eat just one or 1.5 to push it. Meal prep gives me structure. It doesn't mean I stop listening to my body. That flexibility is one of the things that makes this sustainable for me. So this is what my 5-day active recovery meal plan looks like. And the daily calories sums up to 1,717 grams. And that's it. This week's 5-day meal prep. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's that healthy eating doesn't have to look exactly like somebody else's plan. Find meals you enjoy. Make protein a priority if that's part of your goal. Add your vegetables. Be mindful of your portions. And prepare enough ahead of time to make your busy days a little easier. I'm using this week to recover, reset, and continue moving my body and stay consistent with my nutrition without feeling like everything has to be perfect. Because at the end of the day, that's what I'm working towards. Consistency. If you enjoyed this meal prep video, let me know in the comments which meal you would try first. The breakfast scramble, the shrimp and veggie stir fry, or the ground turkey wrap. And if you want to see more realistic meal prep, wellness, and healthy lifestyle content, make sure you subscribe and follow along. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.